At this time, it's my great honor to introduce the next president of the Contra Costa County Bar Association, Nick Casper. Nick obtained his Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from UCLA in 2001. He got his law degree from the University of San Francisco in 2006, and since 2007 he's been an associate at the law firm of Casper, Meadows, Schwartz, and Cook. Nick is an excellent attorney. He handles personal injury cases involving catastrophic injury, wrongful death, child sexual abuse, civil rights violations, employment discrimination and harassment complaints, and other sorts of cases. But he's also done an amazing job for us with the Bar Association. He was the head of our barristers section for 2 years and did an excellent job at that. We then appointed him to be a member of our board of directors. He's been a member of our board since 2011, and his rise to the presidency has been the fastest of anyone in Bar Association history. And there's a very good reason for that. And that is Nick's commitment to the bar has really been unparalleled. And I want to just highlight a couple of things that he's done in that time. First of all, over the past few years, he's headed our Access to Justice Committee. And the most important thing that they've done is gone out and lobbied on behalf of our courts to try to get additional court funding. Nick has participated in or organized numerous meetings with all of our local legislators to try to get additional court funding. And it's been a thankless job at times, but he's stuck with it and done a great job. And another thing I want to highlight that he's done, he's been instrumental in helping to plan some of our initiatives for new lawyers, including our speed dating mentorship event that we had last spring, and also our program on positioning yourself for job search success this past fall. Nick is also active in the Alameda Contra Costa Trial Lawyers Association and the Consumer Attorneys of California. I don't know how he makes time for all this stuff, but you can tell he's really, really committed to the legal community. But perhaps most of all, I really appreciate Nick's sage advice, his judgment. He is wise beyond his years, and I have the utmost confidence that he is going to do an amazing job as the president of the Contra Costa County Bar Association. So please welcome Nick Casper.
Thanks, Steve. That's very kind of you to say. First of all, I'd like to apologize. I'm recovering from a cold, so I'm a little stuffed up today, but I'm going to bear through it. First, I would like to just acknowledge this year's board members that I'll be working with this year, as well as the section leaders. So please just hold your applause, and we're going to be giving the oath of office later in this program. Our executive officers this year are Elva Harding as president-elect, Phil Anderson as secretary, Amanda Bevins as treasurer, Steve Steinberg as ex officio, and then our directors, Erica Ackeret, Dean Barbieri, Oliver Bray, Danae Buddy, Mary Carey, Wendy McGuire-Coates, Michelle Ferber, Peter Haas, Renee Livingston, David Marciano, Laura Ramsey, Catherine Wenger, and James Wu. Our section leaders for 2015 are David Arrieta, bankruptcy, Jessica Braverman, employment, Mary Carey, criminal, John Cavan, ADR, Costa Demiris, barristers, Chad Gallagher, real estate, Eliza Greco, law student, Adrian Haddad is the West County chair, Karen Hecht is West County, Marcia Keefe is family, Andrew McCall is solo in small firm, Joe Morrill is elder law, Kent Parr, business law, corporate counsel, Jeffrey Steele is litigation, Marta Venegas, the women's section, Christine Weed with the tax section, Stuart West with the intellectual property section, and Rhonda Wilson Rice, juvenile. I look forward to working with all of you this year. So first I just want to say a couple words for our outgoing president, Steve Steinberg. I first met Steve early on when I had been admitted, and I think it was at a barrister's function. And I remember being very impressed that this guy who's about my age was already on the bar board of directors. And I thought, here's a guy whose path is worth copying. And that's exactly what I did. From leading the barristers to getting on the bar board of directors, to the executive committee, and finally to be the bar board president. I appreciate you allowing me to imitate your every move, Steve. If ever there was a patron saint of bar technology, it's Steve Steinberg. Early on in Steve's bar board service, he was tasked with overhauling the bar's website, which at the time, to put it delicately, was a bit outmoded. To put it more bluntly, was a clunky website straight out of the 1990s. And through a lot of time and effort, the bar now has a website that is contemporary, it's intuitive, and it's user-friendly for both our members as well as for the community at large. And it's just a reality that now one of the more public faces of any organization is its website. And that public face is one of professionalism and is firmly in the 21st century, and that's thanks to Steve. Last year, during his bar president tenure, he continued this effort in pushing the bar's technology forward. We enrolled a bar mobile website, which is optimized for users to use on their smartphones and on their tablets, which is how more and more people are accessing online content, as well as creating the bar's first ever app, which is now available in your app store for free. Now members can sign up for events as quickly and as easily as they update their Instagram feeds, which I'm sure you all have. Steve has a number of qualities that I really admire. One thing that really came across in working with him is Steve cares deeply for this organization. And Steve wants to get things right. There's really no issue where Steve, you felt that he was going to cut corners or take the path of least resistance. Because, like I said, Steve's interest is doing the right thing. And he was willing to put in the hours to get it done. Another thing that I really appreciate in Steve's leadership style, and is a little bit of an anachronism based on how technologically motivated he is, but he's not reluctant to just pick up the telephone. Oftentimes last year when issues would crop up, instead of sending out emails and the reply alls and nothing gets done, Steve would pick up the horn, call his executive committee, call board members, and really just hash things out. And that, it was a very refreshing thing. Steve, I know you have your ex officio duties this year, but I won't be disappointed in you at all if you decide to just coast because you've earned it. Congratulations on your bar service. You did a wonderful job. So the next speaker is someone that has been practicing in Contra Costa County since 1975. He started with the Public Defender's Office and then later opened up a very successful plaintiff civil litigation firm. He was bar president in 1993, which provides some interesting symmetry with my tenure, in that he was the bar president when Lisa Reed was hired as executive director, and 20-odd years later, I am the first bar president who will be the first full-term president under the next executive director, Teresa Hurley. Another interesting connection with this speaker is I am fairly confident he is the only bar member who has seen me throw temper tantrums in the backyard after losing a game of horse, as well as I'm pretty sure the only bar member who's changed my diapers. Please welcome my dad, Stan Casper.
Well, it's great to be here with you today. As a past president, I have to say that it's a joy to feel relevant for at least a little while, just because your son happens to be the guy that's coming in as taking over the reins next. I think we've all been in situations where some old codger gets up and starts to talk about in my day. And, usually it's a parent or a relative. And because Nick is my son, and because I have you all as a captive audience for the next 3 or 4 minutes, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what it was like in my day. When I first became active in the Bar Association in the mid-1970s, first of all, we had a huge membership back then. Less than 300 members as opposed to the tiddling, 1,800 that you now have today. And we met monthly, religiously, for lunch meetings, fine dining at its best. You'll all remember the Velvet Turtle. And the Velvet Turtle, of course, if you don't remember, was just up the hill from Toys R Us. All of the male members, including myself, wore cowboy boots under our polyester suits. And unfortunately, there were very few female members back then. Compared to today, there was only one specialty section. You now have, I think you just read off, 20 sections of the bar. There was one section, and that was the West County section. And I believe the only reason that existed was because there were a bunch of renegades, led by Colby Fannin, who were still miffed at the fact that the West County Bar Association had been merged into this Contra Costa Bar Association. We had to endure almost on a bi-monthly basis our unofficial historian, the Honorable Wayne Westover, Department 4, get up and tell the same story again about how Wakefield Taylor got his name on that damn courthouse. Finally, we were really struggling in those days to come to grips with the number of Superior Court judges that our county had expanded to. Judge Fannin was Department 11, that was fine, but then we had to deal with Pat Herron in 12, Dick Patsy in 13. That was a whole lot of Superior Court judges to deal with. And of course today there are over, I believe it's 38 judges sitting on our Superior Court. So times have really changed, and I think we would all agree that this organization has evolved in the right direction. And I think it's doing just great. It still serves as the professional lifeblood for all of us who practice here in Contra Costa County. Nick stole a little bit of my thunder because I let him see some of my remarks, and I wanted to say that I am very proud of Nick. That he didn't steal. But I have seen him go from a kid who, I'll one-up you, who couldn't drive to his left in our one-on-one deathmatch basketball games, to a young man who is a really fine lawyer, a young man with great leadership qualities, and more than anything, just a really good human being. And for that, I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to my wife and his mother, Stephanie, who's here today. I've really been blessed to be able to practice on a daily basis with Nick. And I know that I speak for my entire law firm when I say that we all think that the Bar Association is darn lucky to have Nick for the next year to lead this association, and I know you're going to do a great job. Thanks.
Thanks, Dad. I absolutely could drive left. I just want to put that on the record. I now want to introduce our presiding judge for 2015. I say this with a little bit of a bittersweet sentiment because in practicing civil myself, it means we're not going to have Judge Austin for the following year on civil. He's going to be in the administrative role. Judge Austin has really distinguished himself as one of the finest judges in our county. His judicial demeanor is talked about as being one of professionalism, frankness, candor, and also, of course, his good humor. I've seen him deal with difficult pro pers with aplomb. Judge Austin, it's always a pleasure to appear in his department, and that would be missed in 2015. But we're confident that he's going to do a wonderful job as presiding judge. I also want to mention that Judge Austin this week just received his second Alameda Contra Costa Trial Lawyers Association Judge of the Year. So, Judge Austin. I have an opportunity to just say a couple of words about this coming year. Judges and justices, fellow directors, bar members, family, friends, staff. I am honored to have the opportunity to address this esteemed audience as your 2015 Contra Costa County Bar President. Before I discuss some of my goals for the association in the next 12 months, I would like to briefly reflect on how it came about that I am standing before you today. We are often products of our environments, and my particular childhood ecosystem was inhabited by lawyers. As you're aware, my dad practiced in Contra Costa for the past 40 years. Both of his siblings became lawyers, including my Aunt Ann, who has joined us here today. She started with the Contra Costa Public Defender's Office. My mom and my late grandmother heeded the call by getting their Juris Doctorates later in life, with my mom graduating from JFK Law in the 1990s. But my decision to become an attorney was not motivated by external pressures or expectations. It was simply a product of gravitational pull. As a child, I remember listening to my dad tell me the sordid details of his criminal cases, most of which were probably not child appropriate. After the firm transition to plaintiff civil litigation, I remember being captivated in him telling me about the science in his product's liability cases, and enthralled when he described the Perry Mason-like trial moments with an opposing expert on the witness stand. My parents encouraged my early interests in medicine, in architecture, in practically anything outside of law, but nothing captured my imagination like being a trial lawyer. That, combined with my paralyzing fear of needles and blood, pretty much sealed my path. We Caspers are lawyers. Although I can honestly say that my decision to enter the law was one of volition, my joining the Bar Association was not. It was forced upon me. When I joined Casper, Meadow, Schwartz & Cook in 2007, one of the first things the partners told me was I was joining the Bar Association. And I've received a lot of shrewd advice from the bosses over the years, but their mandate on bar membership and participation really stands out in terms of my professional development. Just as the firm honed my skills as a plaintiff's attorney, I really came of age through the bar as a member of my legal community. After I joined the bar board of directors 5 years ago, I became deeply involved in several issues that I believe are deserving of continued prioritization during my term as president. The first being exploring ways that our organization can continue to stay relevant to our members, particularly to the new crops of attorneys that are practicing in our county. Many of these new attorneys, as of December 2014, now have bar numbers starting with a 3. That's right, in the next year you will likely see pleadings with bar numbers in the 300,000s. You have been warned. Many new lawyers in our county do contract work, or they open their new shingles, and they don't have the luxury of just walking down the hallway to their boss's office and asking advice. And to meet the need of these newer lawyers who are looking to learn the ropes, the bar enrolled a pilot mentorship program that was already referenced. And unlike other mentorship programs that arbitrarily assign mentors and mentees and that frequently collapse, we designed a program in which mentees self-select their mentors after chatting with them, and this is a format that we dubbed speed matching. Our next event for this will be on March 26th, and it will be at JFK Law School. So anyone interested in either being a mentor or being a mentee, I encourage you to sign up. Another way to reach the hearts and minds of the next generation of bar members is by helping them land their first jobs. In this vein, we are continuing this fledgling job panel program in which employers and recruiters offer guidance on how to get a job, and we're going to be having this event in the fall. One other positive development for getting new lawyers involved with the bar came through the efforts of fellow board member Dean Barbieri, who is Dean of JFK Law School. Because of Dean's efforts, all JFK Law students are now bar members. All of this means that we may have more new lawyers and more law students at our events than ever before. I assure you that I'm not leading some sort of youth coup d'etat. None of this will be at the expense of the bar's current core functions and programs, which we will continue and expand through the work of the board, and more importantly, through the work of the 19 bar sections, which are more active than ever. But I do encourage you that if you see any of these newer lawyers or students at our events, to make them feel welcome. I remember how daunting it was when I was attending my first bar functions, and the tremendous sense of relief when a lawyer welcomed me with a friendly handshake. Another 2015 key priority for the bar is the expansion of pro bono opportunities available to our members. We have created a task force to implement ways in which our members can better assist the underserved community, an obligation I believe we all must meet at some point by dint of having the privilege of practicing law. There are innumerable ways we can help those in need who cannot afford a lawyer, in family law matters, in tenants' rights matters, in collections, in elder law cases, and I hope we can offer new avenues for assistance to this vulnerable population. Unfortunately, I'm going to touch on a little bit of the doom and gloom that Judge Austin had a more optimistic outlook, but related to this issue of the underserved community, we are going to continue the fight for court funding. For the past 3 years, as Steve Steinberg mentioned, I have tasked our Access to Justice Committee, and we'll be doing so again this year alongside Mary Carey. Every year through this task force, we've met with state assembly members and senators and essentially have brought attention to the dire situation of the courts. The shuttered courthouses, the absurdly long lines in the clerk's office, the long waits for hearing dates, the unemployed commissioners, the availability of court reporters to only those who can afford them. We will continue this fight, regardless of how intractable the governor's office is, to restore funds after 6 years of crippling cuts that have left our courts operating below a minimum threshold, and now without the reserve fund as a safety net. On this vein, I did want to mention, I want to take a moment to say a special thank you to Judge Good. Where are you, Judge Good? Judge Good has, over the last several years, assumed the leadership role in the fight for court funding amongst the state judiciary, and he has spent countless hours of his personal time delving into the minutiae of these proposed budgets, circulating talking points, speaking with journalists on this issue, and traveling up and down to Sacramento to testify before budget subcommittees. We all owe him a debt of gratitude for his hard work on this issue, and this affects us, our clients, and those in the community most in need of a functioning judicial system. So thank you, Judge Good. Finally, a handful of thank yous that I would be remiss not to mention. Thank you to my parents, Stan and Stephanie, for their unwavering support of me and everything I do. Thank you to the partners, my dad, Andy Schwartz, Mike Meadows, Larry Cook, who are the best mentors I could have ever hoped for, as well as their continued patience for my time commitments for bar service. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Thank you to all the rest of Casper, Meadows, Schwartz, and Cook. You are the backbone of this firm, and I truly feel that we operate as a family and working on our clients' cases. At the very least, we see enough of each other to be a family. I just want to mention who's with us today. My legal assistant, Josie Hogue, our legal assistant and office manager, Elizabeth Phelan. We have our brilliant research attorney, Barbara Rose Smith, our paralegals extraordinaire, David Williams and Kimberly Marr, our front desk person, Robin Von Vincent. And I also want to say a special thank you to my friends, including fellow Casper, Meadows, Schwartz & Cook associate Adam Carlson and our bookkeeper, Chloe Andrus. You both always support me and you make my life more fun. Thank you to Lisa Reeve and Teresa Hurley. Lisa's commitment to this organization truly was infectious. And Teresa, I have all the faith in the world that you're going to continue this legacy of exemplary leadership. So in close, I know we are all going to work hard to push ahead this great organization. I pledge to lead the way this year with integrity and sound judgment. It is the least I can do for this association that has given me so much. Thanks. So now is my opportunity to introduce our keynote speaker. Our speaker today is Honorable Justice Nace Rubelo, and we can truly boast him as one of our own. Before he got involved with Contra Costa, he started off like my dad as a Jersey boy, going to Rutgers University, and then came out to the West Coast and went to the University of San Diego Law School, where he was the editor-in-chief of his law review there. He started off as a trial attorney with the U.S. Department of Justice and stayed there for 5 years, and then moved on to the firm Bronson and McKinnon, where he was the managing partner of the Walnut Creek office. You want to talk about various people with meteoric rises. Justice Rubelo absolutely fits this mold. Within less than 3 years, he was appointed to the Superior Court of Contra Costa in '94, and then in '96 was appointed to the First District Court of Appeal, Division II. Since 2006, he has been the presiding judge of Division IV of the First District Court of Appeal. He has been the Trial Judge of the Year for the Alameda Contra Costa Trial Lawyers Association. He's been the Appellate Justice of the Year from the San Francisco Trial Lawyers Association, and he was Justice of the Year from the Italian American Bar Association. So please welcome Justice Nace Rubelo. Thank you very much, Justice Rubelo, for that speech and your work on the commission. I hope Judge Zellerbach was sanctioned severely for being an Angels fan, in my opinion. And I am going to say, if you're going to analogize our family to a political legacy, I prefer it to be the Kennedys, minus the scandal and untimely death. Just a couple last announcements and then we're done. The women's section has a scholarship fundraiser in this room on April 23rd. And then if anyone needs an elimination of bias credit, the Hastings Law School alumni is having an event next week at JFK Law School. If you need that credit, please contact the bar. We'll give you more information. And last, if you are a board member or a section leader, please stick around and we'll be taking photos in the corner. Also, any members who need their photo directory updated, there will also be photographs. Thank you very much.